Stop scrolling. What I'm about to say will offend nice guys, confuse romantics, and expose a quiet psychological trap most men walk straight into. You were taught that doing more keeps her closer. In dark psychology, that belief is the bait. The more you give without leverage, the faster attraction decays. And it doesn't collapse loudly. It dies quietly while you're still trying harder. Today isn't about hating women or playing games. It's about understanding the invisible rules governing desire, respect, and power. Because attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotions follow patterns. Miss them, and you lose without knowing why. In the next minutes, I'll break down 5 behaviors that feel loving, look noble, and secretly sabotage you. Everyone triggers a predictable psychological response. Ignore this, and you'll repeat the same ending with different names. Understand it, and you'll finally see why effort alone never worked. Let's start. Here's the first mistake that flips attraction on its head. The moment a man makes her his entire world, something inside her pulls away. Dark psychology explains why. Humans desire what feels autonomous, not dependent. When you abandon your mission, your routine, your grind for her, you're not signaling love, you're signaling collapse. At first, she enjoys the attention. Then the pressure starts. Your happiness now depends on her mood. Your identity shrinks. And unconsciously, she feels responsible for your emotional survival. That's not romance. That's weight. Attraction can't breathe under weight. What drew her in was your direction, your movement, your hunger for something bigger than her. The second you stop moving forward, she feels it even if she can't explain it. And once that shift happens, no amount of affection fixes it. But this is only the surface. The next mistake is even more dangerous because it disguises itself as being a good man. The second mistake hides behind kindness, and it ruins men quietly. You start fixing her problems, her stress, her chaos, her emotions. Dark psychology calls this role erosion. The moment you become the solver of her life, you stop being the man she chose and become the tool she uses. She vents, you absorb. She struggles, you rescue. It feels masculine. It feels protective. But attraction doesn't grow from rescue. It shrinks from it. Why? Because desire requires equality, not caretaking. When you constantly step in, you send one message beneath the words, you don't think she's capable. And no one feels attraction towards someone who treats them like a dependent. Gratitude replaces desire. Comfort replaces excitement. And worst of all, resentment begins to brew on both sides. She feels managed. You feel used. And neither of you knows when it started. But the next mistake accelerates this collapse even faster. The third mistake is subtle, and that's why it's lethal. Chasing her approval, watching her reactions, adjusting your words, your tone, your opinions, just to stay in her good graces. Dark psychology reveals what this really communicates: insecurity. The moment she senses that your self-worth depends on her response, the power dynamic shifts. She's no longer with a man who chooses her. She's managing a man who needs her. And need kills desire fast when you compete for her attention, when you get visibly jealous, when you try harder the moment you feel replaced. You confirm her deepest instinctive fear, that you don't believe you're enough. Attraction doesn't grow where validation is begged for. It grows where confidence is assumed. The man who is grounded doesn't rush to impress. He doesn't perform, he observes. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing approval, she starts offering it. But if you think that's dangerous, the next mistake destroys attraction instantly. The fourth mistake feels romantic, but it's psychological suicide. Overinvesting before she earns it. Big gestures, constant availability. Future talk way too soon. Dark psychology explains why this backfires. Desire needs uncertainty to breathe. The moment you give her everything without resistance, tension disappears. Mystery dies, and with it, attraction. When a man floods a woman with effort early, her subconscious asks a brutal question. If this was so easy to get, how valuable is it? The answer never favors you. People value what requires effort. What's earned, not handed over. Overinvestment signals low standards and emotional hunger. not commitment. Matching energy isn't manipulation, it's self-respect. She invests, you reciprocate. She earns access, you allow it. Anything else reverses polarity. And once polarity flips, you can't talk your way back. But none of this matters if you commit the final mistake, because that one doesn't weaken attraction. It kills it. This is the mistake that ends relationships before they officially fail. Tolerating disrespect. It never starts loud. It starts small. A joke at your expense. A dismissive tone. A boundary crossed that you excuse to keep the peace. Dark psychology explains what's really happening here. Conditioning. Every time you allow disrespect without consequence, you teach her how low the bar is. And humans always test the floor. Not consciously, instinctively. When you don't hold your ground, her subconscious concludes something dangerous. You don't respect yourself. And once self-respect disappears, attraction follows it out the door. No amount of kindness compensates for weakness. Respect is the gateway emotion. Without it, desire can't survive. The most dangerous part, by the time you finally react, the pattern is already set. Now your boundaries feel out of character, too late. But here's the twist most men never hear. Enforcing boundaries doesn't push women away. It filters them. And what comes next explains why everything you were taught about love was backwards. Here's the pattern no one tells you. All 5 mistakes come from the same psychological wound, scarcity, the belief that you must earn love by shrinking yourself. Dark psychology calls this inverted value framing. You place her above you, and the mind automatically devalues what sits lower in the hierarchy. When you sacrifice your purpose, rescue her, chase approval, overgive, and tolerate disrespect, you're signaling one thing beneath the surface: I'm afraid to lose you. And fear is never attractive. Desire responds to certainty, not submission. The grounded man doesn't cling. He chooses. He doesn't ask, how do I keep her? He asks, is this adding to my life? That shift changes everything. Suddenly, you're no longer auditioning. You're evaluating. And that psychological reversal is felt instantly. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most men avoid this shift because it forces them to confront their own emptiness. And that's where the real work begins. This is where most men turn away, because it's not about tactics anymore. It's about identity. Dark psychology teaches that attraction is a byproduct of self-perception. How you see yourself teaches others how to see you. If you don't believe you're valuable without her, she'll fill that gap immediately. That's why no strategy works long-term. You can fake confidence, mirror texts, hold frame for a while, but the subconscious always leaks truth. The man who's attractive isn't thinking about attraction. He's building, moving, choosing. He has standards that exist before a woman enters his life. That's what creates polarity. That's what creates desire without effort. And here's the part that stings. Most men don't lose women because they did something wrong. They lose them because they made her the solution to a problem she never agreed to solve. But the final realization flips everything upside down, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the final psychological inversion. The moment you stop needing her, she starts choosing you, not because you withdrew, not because you played cold, but because need and desire cannot coexist. Dark psychology is clear on this. Humans are drawn to completeness, not hunger. When you become emotionally self-sufficient, something subtle shifts. Your reactions slow down. Your boundaries solidify. Your presence feels grounded. You're no longer trying to secure the relationship. You're experiencing it. And that's when she feels safe to desire you. Because now she's an addition, not a lifeline. Most men think being afraid to lose her is love. It's not. It's insecurity disguised as devotion. Love grows from choice, not fear. And when you finally internalize that, relationships stop feeling like work and start feeling like alignment. But this only works if you're willing to release the old version of yourself, the one who over-gave to be chosen. This is the truth that ends the cycle. Attraction isn't something you negotiate, earn, or maintain with effort. It's something you embody. Dark psychology shows us that the men who win aren't the ones who give the most. They're the ones who lose themselves the least. Purpose over obsession, boundaries over approval, reciprocity over sacrifice. When you stop abandoning your mission, stop rescuing, stop chasing validation, stop overinvesting, and stop tolerating disrespect, something powerful happens. You return to yourself. And that's the version of you women respond to without explanation. Not because you're perfect, but because you're whole. The desperate man asks how to keep her. The grounded man asks if she's worth keeping. And that single internal shift changes every interaction, every relationship, every outcome. This isn't about women. It never was. It's about who you become when no one is watching. Fix that and attraction stops being a problem you solve and becomes a byproduct of who you are.